Bible is filled with stories about human imperfection and the nature of God. Many, despite their weaknesses, used by God, demonstrating that God's grace can bridge the gap between human shortcomings and divine power. God's ability to utilize our weaknesses and limitations for his purposes emphasized below. 1. Moses, a murderer who fled Egypt, and yet he became a leader and prophet, chosen by God to deliver the Israelites from slavery and receive the Ten Commandments. 2. Peter denied knowing Jesus 3 times during the crucifixion, and yet he became leader of the early church. 3. Paul, a persecutor of Christians, and yet after his conversion, he became one of the most influential apostles, spreading the gospel. 4. Rahab, a prostitute who lived in Jericho, despite her background, helped the Israelite spies, and she was included in the lineage of Jesus. 5. Mary Magdalene was possessed by 7 demons, and yet she became a follower of Jesus and was the first to witness Christ's resurrection. 6. Zacchaeus, a tax collector, hated by his own people, and yet after encountering Jesus, he repented and returned what he had stolen. 7. The prodigal son, in Jesus' parable, squanders his inheritance on reckless living, and yet upon returning home in repentance, he is welcomed back by his father. This is an example of forgiveness and grace. 8. Matthew, the tax collector who was hated by his people, and yet Jesus called him and wrote the Gospel of Matthew. God can transform life. 9. Samson, known for his strength, he fell into temptation and was captured by the Philistines, and yet after repenting, he called on God one last time for strength, leading to his victory over the Philistines. 10. Nebuchadnezzar, the Babylonian king who was prideful and persecuted God's people, and yet after a period of madness, he recognized God's sovereignty and praised him. 11. The woman at the well, hiding because of her past life, and yet after she encountered Jesus, she openly shared her experience with the people in her town, and many believed in Jesus. These Bible events are good examples of redemption, grace, and the transformative power of faith, illustrating that God often chooses the unlikely for his purposes.